All right, we are recording. So, hello everyone. This is our client Amy, and she's going to tell you a little bit about her journey with us through a program she started with us during her pregnancy, and now has a beautiful baby boy. And so, we're going to talk a little bit about how she grew in our program and how well she's done. Okay, so first, what made you decide to join our one-on-one program?
So my first pregnancy was just kind of like whatever, whenever, on the couch, eat whatever I want. And I put on quite a bit of weight, that never came off. And also like I had a high blood pressure and that put me in the hospital earlier, inducing her. And then she was in the NICU, for a little bit after birth. And I wanted this pregnancy to be different, even if it ended, like, even if my body still did the same things towards the end and I needed to be induced early again. I wanted to know that I had done what I could to give my baby a really good start and myself a good start as well.
Yeah, and she's been doing great. Okay, so you did a little bit, but describe where you were before starting with us and now where you're at after.
I think mostly it was kind of like a false self-love in the beginning. Like I do have a really good sense of like self-love, but I think I had taken it too far where it was just like, it's okay to eat whatever I want. It's okay to eat whenever, whatever, all the time, never, sometimes. It was okay to just be on the couch. It was okay to do whatever. And now I think that there's a better appreciation for what my body does. And it may not be weird, but that's a weird thing for me to say, because it's not really about, like, for me, it felt like it was about the food and it felt like it was about the exercise. And now I think I have a better appreciation of like what my body did. And so it's easier for me to pick up vegetables and put them in my body. It's easier for me to remind myself to get fruit, to remind myself to eat grains even, or not add another carb if I'm having a bunch of carbs anyway. It's easier for me to like remember that my body is also important, even if I love it in whatever shape it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of the difference.
Yeah,
I love it differently now.
Yes. I love that because I think it is like we all kind of sit in that a little bit, is like, I want to like allow myself because of, there's a lot of restrictions out there. There's a lot of things that tell you you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's like, no, like I love my body and I want to be able to, enjoy things and not have that restriction. But finding that kind of place of being like, but I also love my body and I want it to feel good through exercise and I want, to fuel it, in the best way possible and still enjoy the foods that I like to eat, but also take care of it in, this way and that way. So that's awesome. Okay, so what would you say made the biggest impact throughout this journey, both prenatally and postnatally?
Honestly, the accountability. That's not the word I'm actually looking for. I'm looking for a different one, but it had consistency is what I'm looking for. I had people that were consistently talking to me about it, and I feel like you guys, if I had been like hardcore about it, I'm not your hardcore client. If I had been hardcore, I feel like you guys would have been there for that version of me too. But you were also there for the version of me that was overwhelmed, but wanted to do better. And so if I'd had a bad week, what was the question? What made the biggest, I'm sorry, what made the biggest difference? I think it was that you met me where I was each week. And so it wasn't easy to quit. Like I would have had to kind of go out of my way to quit because you met me where I was. So it wasn't like, oh, you ate no vegetables, you did terribly. It was like, okay, what about this week? And it was moving on. If it was a good week, we celebrated it. If it was a bad week, we celebrated what we could do the next week. And so it was, that made the biggest difference. It was hard to quit because I had like cheerleaders in my corner that were just like proud of me for even little things I was doing. And so it was easy to stay on board.
Yeah. Just to like add, it seems like little baby steps, but you have made it like leaps and bounds. So, as small as it seems, and it seems like we were celebrating little wins. We've made stacked those little wins up to be like really big, awesome things. So Amy is being really humble right now. She has
I
done a
think that's
lot.
part of it though, is that like when you look at like unrealistic goals and think that they're realistic, you don't try. And when someone's willing to break it down with you, like day by day and week by week, it's attainable. So yes, I agree with you. I
Yay.
have done really well.
You have. Okay. So, what would you say like made the biggest difference in your breastfeeding journey so far?
I think one, it was a little bit easier knowing what I was getting into than the first time. Both of my babies had hospital stays, so I didn't latch with either of them very well. So that could have been overwhelming, but also the fact that like, again, this time you acted like what I was doing was amazing. And again, it was easier to keep going than it would have been to quit. Like quitting would have been more of a letdown than like oh, I need to be nice to myself, I'm going to quit. It would have been more like, well, Cassie said I'm doing really good. So if I quit, then I'm giving up on like something that I've done well, something that I'm doing well. And also I think it's that whole like bringing attention to taking care of yourself. I think now I get to take care of my baby.
Yeah.
And so I think I was better prepared, and I had people who were like cheering me on to do what I excuse me do, do what was best for us, and for us that was pumping. So that made the biggest difference. But also, if it's the testimonial, I would say get your pump before you're in the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
And that will make a bigger difference for you if you're going to pump.
And I just to like add as a note, you are doing incredible. Like you are exclusive. Like this woman is exclusively pumping right now, which is probably one of the hardest things to do as a breastfeeding mom. Like, so you are doing amazing. Like really, like I'm so impressed with like your what's the word I'm looking for, endurance with it, and like the fact that you're continuing and all of that, like you're doing really well. So she's not just saying that she really is doing awesome. Okay. So what would you say to someone who's on the fence about working with us in the future?
I would say that if you have the ability to do it, that you should absolutely jump off the fence and get on the side of doing it. I wish that I'd had you guys my first pregnancy, but again, I honestly think I'd have been like, oh, it's fine. And I am telling you, like, I'm one of those very kind of easy, like if it's hard, I usually just like avoid it, or like if it's hard outside of my comfort zone, I avoid it. On the fence, get off the fence and do it, because it's worth it. You can, like, you two will go as far as someone wants to go. And also on those really bad weeks, you help slow down and help like pull apart what really went on and what can we do that's small to help it. And also I think you would let people sprint in it as well and go full force and do even more than I did. And I'm not saying I didn't do enough, I'm just saying even more. I think that every pregnant woman needs the support system of people who know what they're talking about. Because we don't have it. Even our doctors, we don't have that much time with our doctors anyway. Our appointments are short. They're seeing 100 other people that day. And Cassie and Michaela will take the time to break stuff down and talk to you and deal with stuff. And even if you're not on the phone with them, they respond super quick, except when you text at midnight. But then they're up way before me and texting back. So I've talked a lot. Get off the fence. If you have the ability to do this, get off the fence.
Oh, thanks, Amy. Okay, last question. So besides getting a pump when you're pregnant and not after, is there anything additional that you'd like to share with people who are watching, any of our future mamas on here?
You're doing a great job. If you're trying your best and you're doing your best and you love your baby, whether the baby's in your belly or outside of your belly, you're doing a great job. And to keep loving yourself and loving your baby. That would be my very best advice, is to not get down on yourself.
Amen. Amen. Yes. All right. So that's all of my questions. Thank you so much, Amy. And anyone listening, if you have any questions, you can email us or DM us and let us know.